nothing that gets me, very few things in the world that upset me. Very few. If you've met me, you've probably never seen me angry, but. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerd and nerdettes. This is going to be a bit of a different video, as it was my recent time in a podcast with the Do-Over podcast. We talked about a lot of different things: medieval weapons, slings, my time on the House of David, parenting, fatherhood, what it means to be masculine, everything like that. Warhammer, of course, peppered in there. So if that's something you think you'll enjoy, feel free to check out the video. I hope you enjoy it. If not, I'll see you guys in the next one. But without further ado, let's get into it.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Do-Over podcast. Really quick, we got into it, but we have limited time with our special guest, Dash Rendar himself. Round of applause.
Yay!
Yay! How's it going, Dash? How are you doing?
Very good, thank you.
I'm glad that you came in, because not only are you probably the most attractive man I've ever seen
True.
in like real life, Elliot got to put on a knight's helmet.
Barbuta, yes.
Is that what it's called? The Barbuta?
Yeah, it's like a amalgamation of a couple different helmets.
Yeah, kombucha is really good.
So I wanted to have you in here because you've been a busy man, especially for like the last few years. The reason why we have you in here is because not too long ago, we went and got a taste of what it feels like to be humiliated very publicly on the internet, because we could not. What was the line that was my favorite? Oh, this is my child's bow. And then I was like this.
Yeah, I couldn't even like, the arrow was supposed to go this way. It's pointing that way. The bow's over here. It's like, yeah, maybe I'm not an archer.
Usually you do a thing where it's like, okay, down range, right?
Yeah.
But we were like side range. We were worried about it shooting out
Just
this way.
clear out.
So we went out there. It was super rainy. And when we got the video together and it came out, me and Elliot were deathly afraid of people like just chewing us out in the comments. And you have probably the nicest comment section.
Probably the nicest community in all of YouTube.
If you don't know, let's go back a little bit. You have about 250,000 followers, a little bit more.
Like 270 or something like that.
Yeah, like
That's a strong legion.
270,000 followers on YouTube, 500,000 plus on TikTok.
Yeah, I don't really do much TikTok anymore.
No,
I mean, I still
really?
post periodically, but
Yeah. I always find it fascinating when, like, you know, people from Fresno, because I've been here my whole life, you know, you were born and raised here, weren't you?
Yeah.
So like, it's funny because a lot of people just assume like you can't get that level of exposure in this town.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can't gain kind of notoriety in this sense because it's Fresno. Right. And you prove that you definitely can. Now, I'm sure that the insane physique helped.
Well, you know, just from one insane physique to another.
Yeah.
Like,
so you're going to get a lot of this.
Okay,
So, okay.
All right, I'll just brace for it.
So when you started posting to Instagram and it kind of just naturally evolved into this, right? And you really do, you know, you're the arbiter of your own community. And it's funny because I thought it would be a bunch of people just like saucing on you, right? Like, oh, Dash, you know what I mean? And I'm sure there's some of that.
Sure.
But it's like a lot of people really in to the medieval weaponry, because if you're not familiar with Dash's channel, we'll have it linked down below so you can go and check it out. But it's like medieval weapons. You have characters that you play. You're doing like old school war bows and slings, and like it has evolved into where like you are kind of known for being a consultant, an expert in this field. And did you ever think that you would get an opportunity to do anything like this? Just filming yourself messing around with weapons in the backyard.
It all, like anything, it just evolves over time, right? And it's something I had always done. And I think the one thing I'd always joked about was I was never a nerd in public, right? Like I'd always...
You're a closeted nerd.
Yes, yes. I'd always done
when did
that
you
stuff.
come out?
3 years ago, I guess. I'd always loved weaponry, and I'd always trained with it and done that just because I was fascinated by it. You know, I was just trying to get the skill down. I would read about a culture and a weapon, and I would be like, I want to master that. I'd buy that. So, you know, early high school, I read about the English archers and how they could do 150 pounds. And that just became a goal. Like I want to try and see if I can match what they did.
Right.
And then I read about the slingers, the Balearic slingers off Spain, Mallorca and everything. And I'm like, man, that's insane that they were able to do it. So I just bought a sling and I just practiced with it for hours, days and years and things to try to get better. I would just find something that would catch my attention and see if I could master that.
To clarify, so if you were wondering, it's not like a slingshot.
I have a couple.
Here,
can you grab
if
the,
you have,
the
grab
rope
one
in there?
So this is probably some of the most impressive stuff that he messes around with, which
What
is
are
an
you
old
into,
school,
Dash?
It's like an old school sling,
Right.
right? And there's like a little pocket. You put, either a rock or
Right.
something
So
in the middle.
This is called a split pouch.
Yeah.
So there's split pouch and there's hammock and there's wool slings and there's jute twine and hemp slings and everything like that. This is a smaller one here and this is a larger one. The slingers would carry multiple sizes for different ranges.
Right.
So this slinger would be for a longer.
Remember this
a
old
longer
friend?
reach.
I do.
Yes. And it would just sit in there and you would just generate momentum. You could do one rotation, multiple rotations, and then you would loose it. You open your thumb and your forefinger when you want to release that point, and it goes, it releases.
The idea of being crazy accurate with something like that it's very impressive, especially if you watch like Dash's highlight reels of him just plugging stuff from like 50 yards away, dude. And it's like someone reached out to you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about kind of Dash's going Hollywood.
Yeah. No.
Are you selling out?
I am not.
Ooh,
He's
we make-
Hollywood now.
Can we make that the thumbnail?
He's like,
Dash sells
Warner
out.
Brothers,
Yeah.
they run a really good ship over there.
James Gunn's like, I need this.
Call
guy.
me Gunn.
MGM Amazon. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So yeah, on Instagram, this happened last year. Someone reached out to me, Kamani, and he
Before you even start, the fact that you even saw the message is crazy because he's like, oh yeah, a movie studio reached out to me in my messages because I never look at that.
No, I mean, I think, and you talk about the community and everything, I think is that the joy of this to me is it is purely a passion and a hobby. And almost everyone who responds or messages me, I take time to write back because they share the same interests. Like it's like sharing with a community. And I think that the people that follow along enjoy that because it's just like a discourse between friends. I kind of like, I read something a while ago. It's like you create a video on YouTube for one person, right? Don't think about, it's like, what's that one person who would like what I like, right? And I kind of create a video I think that people like me would enjoy, and the ones that see it are the ones that enjoy it. So I'm not trying to catch trends or, try to do anything that's in the moment unless it like coincides. But like, it's just, I think everyone who follows along kind of shares it. So I do check, yes. And so I saw that. And Kamani reached out to me. He's like, hey, I'm the stunt coordinator for a production that's going on. And we have an actor who needs to learn how to use a sling. Would you be interested? And so I looked it up on IMDb and I'm like, oh, he's legit.
He's like a real person.
Yeah. He worked on Deadpool.
He's like, oh, he's all, I need like
you're not
some
like
Target
the last
gift card.
Hollywood executive, are you?
I can pay you in Target gift cards.
Yeah, but you need to pay me first so then I can pay you.
And I'll pay you with the cards. Yeah.
So I messaged him back and forth and I was like, I didn't put a lot of stock into it. I didn't really know. And then there was like gaps of time in between, like a month or two. I wouldn't hear anything. And then I got an email thread from the producer, John Irwin, and his secretary and someone else, another executive producer. And I was communicating with them. And then I got an email one day. It's like, hey, John's in LA right now. Can you go meet with him? And I was like, oh, I talked to my wife. I'm like, hey, tomorrow, can I drive down to LA to go meet with this producer? And she's like, sure. So I went down, I brought the slings. I met with him and we went down to a marina and I had some rocks in there. And so I just showed him how the sling worked. I showed him a couple of techniques and things. And he was like, this is really cool. We sat down and had lunch together and we talked for like an hour just about, ancient weapons and warfare and different types of things like that. And he was like, listen, we would love to have you, but I know, you have a family. I respect that. How long would you be able to give us? And I said, I think I could be away from my family for 2 weeks is kind of what
it's like the max.
Yes. That's like my end. That I don't think that's too long. And he's like, all right, well, we'll be in touch and get back to you. And I'm like, great. So I knew it was going to start filming in May of 2024. And I didn't hear anything for, a while. It was like long gaps in between time. Yeah. And then I got a call from like I don't know who he was, but like if you picture what an old Hollywood guy sounds like, I got a call on Sunday.
Yo,
like,
Dash.
No.
Dash,
like,
we're going to send you a cab, Dash.
Dash, baby, how you doing?
It was like the 50s gruff guys like, Dash, we need you in Greece on Tuesday. Like, that kind of guy.
Hey, yo, Dash.
Yeah.
We need you over there on Marina Del Rey.
Yeah.
Where Teamsters at?
7:30 sharp.
And so I was like, okay, so it was Sunday night. And so they booked my flight for Tuesday. And so then I fly out to Greece on Tuesday. They pick me up. I get set up in the place they have for me. And so the first day I went to, there's 2 different spots. There was like the writers, the producers area. And that's like where all the props and the sets were. I got the 2 of those sets they were building in the basement. And then there was the stunt studio where I spent most all my time with the stunt crew and the actors there as well. So I was basically just there with the guy who plays David. His name's Michael. He's a really great young kid. I mean, we got along well. He was eager to learn. And so we just spent 2.5 weeks, I think it was total, just training the sling. So I started him on the basics. Then we got more advanced. And then I would start having different number configurations for each one. So he would rep it out. And so like 1, 2, 4, 6, 1, 2.
Right.
And he would have different techniques. And so we would send those, they would film that and send that back to the executives, producers, and we'd try and see which ones would look good on film because it's got to be cinematic as well.
It
right?
needs to like look good.
You gotta have that sidearm, you know that.
Yeah, like that whip, like
yes.
Yeah.
Hey
So-
Goliath, taste this.
So we worked on that, and then the coolest thing for me was I think the stunt corner got back to me one day. He's like, "Hey, listen, we've been showing them your stuff, and they think they love it. It looks so good. They actually changed the script they were writing to have more sling stuff in it because they thought it looked so cool and so.
Right.
And the kid got so good. He worked so hard. I was super proud of.
So
How
he
much-
like picked it up relatively quick.
Yes.
It's like that SNL. It's like I gotta have more sling.
I know,
I got a fever.
Uh-huh. So he took to it very well. I was incredibly impressed with all the fundamentals he got and how he could. And I even told him, like, I don't know if they did it, but I told him, like, guys, listen, you got to get a day. You just set him up out there and roll the camera and set up some clay pots because he won't hit the first time, but he's going to hit them. You know?
Right,
And you
yeah.
just get those and do. I don't know if they did that, but like he got to the point where he could hit a target. You know?
Wow, that's
Okay.
impressive.
Yeah.
Because dude, it is intimidating to see like just the mechanics of it because
Right.
people did get very proficient with those
Right.
back in the day.
Mhm.
I mean, and it's a lethal weapon.
Right.
Like if
Yeah.
it's used, you know,
It's in the
Danny-
hands of Dash. It's
Danny-
a lethal weapon.
yeah. Danny Glover comes out, some Mel Gibson, and they're like throwing rocks. No, it's like it's impressive that people were so proficient that they
Right.
could use that in like a warfare sense because it doesn't like calculate really like in your head all too well. Like when you look at it like how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, and that was of all the things I've tried to learn and everything. It took me so long, and I was like secretly jealous how quickly he got good. Because I would have to like tape on my fingers because I would get so many blisters because it's like a really rough coarse rope.
Yeah.
And so like my fingers would get shredded, and I would just spend an hour I would buy like bags of rocks, you know, from Lowe's, and I would just throw it, and I just couldn't. It took so long to go anywhere near where
The
I wanted it
target?
to go. Yeah. No, like no lie, like the target. Like I'm talking like a 20 by 20 target. You know,
Right.
like just like going left, right, center, up, down. It's madness.
So you put a lot of effort. You got to go to Greece.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you get credit, right, on the film.
Yeah,
for
I'm in
being
the
a
credits.
Yeah.
It'll say
Like
like,
the-
it'd
do you
say
get-
weapons consultant or something. Yeah.
Do you get, I don't know, because you're technically not acting in it, but do you get like a screenwriters guild?
No.
card or
So
something?
the whole thing was there was a part where I could have had a cameo. If you're not part of the Screen Actors Guild, you can't say a line.
Right.
I guess apparently.
Yeah.
And so there was a scene where there was gonna be like a big fight in a tent, and it was gonna be between David's brother, and I would have been like the big bad guy in that scene. That's like the one he has to fight and everything.
Yeah. Like
Oh, dude, you should have done it.
I know.
But-
You should
I
have
know,
done it.
I know.
But they didn't start filming until end of May. I would have been there for like a month and a half.
Yeah.
That was just way too long. Like, I'm not trying to chase some Hollywood dream. This was
Yeah.
a crazy
But have you
opportunity.
thought about it?
No.
Because I know one person in this room, probably on this table, that would definitely totally be your agent. Got the
Here's the
superhero
thing.
bod.
It's
Hold on. Dash does enough. All right. He has a successful social media and YouTube channel.
He does.
Okay. He has 3 boys.
yes.
He does.
Okay. A very, very driven wife.
Yes.
I can tell you that right now because they're colleagues, from
Yeah.
real
Right,
estate.
right.
That's how I met them in the first place. So not only on top of like the real estate stuff and all this stuff and then being a father, the fact that let's talk about this. I cannot believe for 5 years of my life, I was waking up at 4:45 and you get up at like 3
Right.
for your regimen.
What do you mean, right? What do you mean?
He's like, yeah.
like it's normal.
That's right.
So you wake it.
Well, I mean, the goal for me, like there's a time in the day where I allocate for what I perceive to be like the time is me. And that has to be when everyone else is asleep and there's nothing else going on, because anything else is all hands on deck. So I wake up at 3, like probably 5 or 6 days a week. I spend an hour to an hour and a half doing cardio on a trainer, something like that. And then I'll go to the gym, and I'm home by like 5:45, maybe 6 at the latest. And that's when the first kid starts waking up.
Yeah.
And then that's like dad mode at that point. So if it's not done in the morning, I'm not going to do it. I'd rather be with my family in the evenings or the afternoon than taking time away to go to the gym for myself.
Like, what time do you pass out at night?
Like 9.
9.
It's instant. Yeah, it's instant. My
You're
wife
just
will
like-
be like, hey, honey, and then it's just done.
You're
Like,
I suggest the Stairmaster as like a good cardio.
I mean, the cardio that works is the one you can do for a long period of time. It doesn't matter. There's no one right thing, in my opinion. I like to do the trainer because I listen to audiobooks when I do it. So that's like something I can enjoy. I
kind of almost take your focus off of
yeah. And so that's where I get like my nerdy Warhammer or my nerdy, like, you know, any I love like medieval fantasy and sci-fi, like hard sci-fi, like Lovecraftian sci-fi, you know? And so that's where like I'm able to have that time where I disconnect and just enjoy a story. And I look forward to that in the mornings.
I'm learning about all the Primarchs right now. Because even though I don't play Warhammer, I love the lore.
Lionel Johnson's the best. I'm just saying. He's the coolest.
Dude, I mean, it's funny learning about all the Jess.
Yeah.
You're talking so much. So I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite cardio to do?
The spin bike.
Spin bike?
Mm-hmm.
I ask you something because I, you know, we don't need to get into it too hard, but I find this kind of funny because you are a father of 3 boys. Okay. You're a tough guy. You're chiseled, good, you know,
tough as nails.
But you also come across as like a kind person and someone that, you know, is a good dad and a caring father. And what is your opinion on these? Because I really believe that a lot of young men, and I feel like there needs to be better like male role models out there, because a lot of young impressionable men have not been kind of guided into being confident, but also vulnerable and emotionally available. It's either one or the other. It's like you either have to be a complete to women and everyone, or else you're not a real man. And these like manfluencers that have come in have kind of like cornered the market on just men being horrible. Right. That's the right way to do it. You know, like, what do you feel about that? Because that seems like such.
There's nothing that gets me. Very few things in the world that upset me. Very few. If you've met me, you've probably never seen me angry. But I think that kind of, you know, unhealthy masculinity where it's overcorrecting in a way that's disrespectful to the people around you is very, very frustrating for me to observe. Yeah, me too. And I think that the method of doing it is they are salesmen for a product they don't believe in. I think that they act.
They're all scam artists.
Yes. I think they act a certain way because it gets you traction and followers and things, because it gets you money and monetary, and people see the gains that come from that and think it's because that's their actual personality. Right. But really, it's just a scripted event. And they act in a certain way. Yes.
I mean, but you are right. They're selling a product because they literally sell a product.
Right.
Like, and I get it. Like, there was a period in time, especially when it comes to young men, it's like when you say overcorrection,
right?
Because there has been some serious issues in the past.
I agree as well. It's gone. It
goes like this, or it needs to go like this.
Yes.
You know, and I understand. I get it, but you can't be told like men are bad, just be a good one.
Right.
Then how am I gonna be a good one? And because of that sentiment for the past decade, it opened up a door for these complete to come in and kind of convince young boys to be the worst version of themselves, because it's not only how they talk to women, it's how they talk to everyone.
Yeah.
It's how they approach the way they look at film and media.
I think that I was fortunate in that I had a good role model in my father. You know, he was just your standard, you know, he and I will go on long car rides together. We don't say much, you know, I'm not a very talkative person. He's not, but the presence of someone being there is enough, who's someone who's not berating you, who's just, there, they know, when they're proud of you. They don't always have to say it. I think that's one thing that's difficult, is because everyone thinks everything needs to be an outward expression, because it's also hyper stylized in social media, where everyone needs to post a video of what you do with your children, or what you do to good deeds, what you do with this. And it's much more internal between the family, where there needs to be that safe space where your kids can grow into whatever they need to be. And you can just affirm what they are doing. Like if my kids don't get into archery and want to play chess, that's great. I'm full bore. I'll learn about chess to be with them. Right. If they're into wrestling, I'll go to those events. It's like having that quiet approach to parenting, where you're present, but you're not having to project what you perceive, is the thing that's the most important to me. I think that every kid is their own child. You raise them individually. I don't treat each child the exact same, because I know one kid will react a different way. One's overly sensitive, so I can't come down on him hard. Right. One is going to be a problem. And I know very well I'm going to have to check him a few times, because that's just who he is. Yeah. But, it's just being observant, I think, is the most important thing, because the people, your father, I think especially, is going to really give you a direction in life. And I think as a father, your job is to be an observer and not an actor, in the sense where you're acting instantly. You're observing your child, see how they act, see how they act in situations, so you can see, okay, they have this personality and I want to try and reach them this way.
Man, I could listen to you for hours.
Me too.
You were dreamy. I want to ask you, have your sons shown any interest in like what you do?
Yeah, no.
Have you formed like a little Rendar Ranger squad yet?
No, not yet.
Because I think you need to. I already have the name.
Rendar Ranger squad?
Yeah. The Rendar Rangers. I feel like that's a great family page right there.
I think I've taken them out. They all have their own bows. Right. Cool. They're not like wood longbows. They're just standard cheap.
I couldn't use them regardless.
Yes.
Yeah. We couldn't pull them back.
Yeah, we couldn't do it. Yeah.
And so I do take them out there on certain days. If I go out, I'll have them do a little bit. They get bored pretty quick. They're not going to hold interest for a long period of time. They'll shoot a few, and then they'll run around the back and everything. And I'll let them sometimes just pick a weapon. Like grab a spear.
Hey, grab that axe over there.
Yeah,
you never know when you might need to learn how to use a spear. Right. It's an important thing.
It is.
So
it's the basic weapon.
Just big, there's big blocks of wood out there. So like one of them really liked the Warhammer. So I just let him take the Warhammer. Warhammer's over there.
Warhammer's awesome.
Just go smash
some wood, just do anything like that. So whatever they're feeling in the moment, I'll let them do it. So sometimes like, hey dad, can we do archery today? Or I'll go out and they'll come out with me. And they'll wander around a little bit and play with some toys, or weapons rather. And then when they're bored, they'll just kind of scurry on back.
So I have an idea to make $1 million really quick. Okay. All right. Not a scam.
Okay.
Not a scam.
Not a scam.
I need some Target gift cards.
No, because
first, so I can make sure that you're real.
No, because you already have an in with Hollywood, right?
No. I do not.
Okay, he doesn't.
Yeah.
He does.
Doesn't have an in. Okay, Dash.
Okay, people are going to see how good of a job that this upcoming movie is going to show, that you taught him how to throw that sling around, that slang-a-dang. You know what I'm saying? There happens to be a big director that happens to be doing an ancient times kind of movie with some A-list stars.
Oh, Christopher Nolan for The Odyssey. I think they've probably already started production. I think I missed my window there.
He missed his window.
Let's hold on a second.
He was for the leading role though, but Matt Damon barely inched him out.
Let's hold barely.
I read for it everything.
Look, we don't need you to act in it, but maybe they're like, we need somebody that can really teach these actors how to use these weapons. The success in the and then they're gonna be like, dude, look how good that guy uses that sling. Who did that? They're going to look you up. They're going to be like, you're going to be like, yeah, Mr. Nolan, Chris. Can I call you Chris?
Chrissy, Christopher.
Yeah. Look, I'd love to help, but you got to talk to my agent. Boom, I come in.
So this is all a ploy so you
have
can
the
meet
mustache and the hair.
Exactly.
I feel
I'm saying, my client would love to work for you, but I know you're a little late in production. You got to make this kind of fast. You got to make it worth our while. Boom, he's going to say, how about 300K? You're going to be like, I'm going to be like, make it 450 plus travel. You got yourself a deal. That gets you in the door. You work with Christopher Nolan. He's going to be like, damn, this guy crushed it. Then you're going to have like maybe a Villeneuve be like, I got my next piece after Dune 3, Dune Messiah. I need Dash. And then boom, look at that. $1 millionaire in the next 2.5 years. And then I get 10% of everything you do.
I love that Elliot has created a headcanon for you that makes
it's not bad. I'm not gonna lie. His head it's pretty strong.
And plus, like, we haven't seen what the X-Men look like yet.
That's the first time I ever heard anyone say that Elliot's head is strong. But, you know, all in all, go give him a like. Go give him some love.
Give him a follow.
Go watch all of his videos. Go and check out the extremely nice, classy following members that he has on his channel that really supported me and Elliot.
Yes.
Because we were convinced we were going to be like just destroyed. And everyone was like, keep it up, boys. You got this, man. It's good to get out there. Awesome. Yeah. And it just, you kind of, you know, your approach to life and the approach to the way that you make content and your messaging, I feel like it does bring in people that are like-minded, and that's a good thing. Yeah. Like, you are something good that is on the internet.
And I think, and I had a video a little while ago, and I'm like, you know, at the end of every video, it's always like, check this last video if you like this video. But I was really like, I think the best thing has been, there's been so many people have been like, hey, I've always wanted to learn the sling, and you've motivated me to try this. You've motivated me to do this or go outside or be more active. And so, like, my send off now is like, hey, if you enjoyed this video, instead of clicking on another YouTube video or going down the rabbit hole, why don't you turn off the computer and go have some fun?
Why don't you go touch some grass?
I like to say, make your own adventure, right? Yeah. Because we live in a world where it's like adventure is not something you hear.
Right.
And make your own fun in your own adventure, and in everything you do, there's always something to be done, something to achieve and master and learn.
You're right. Life's better when you role play. Put that in quotes.
Oh my God.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh my God.
To Dash Rendar!
Yay!
So if you stuck around, I hope you enjoyed. That was quite a bit longer than the other ones that I do. But I think the coolest takeaway for me for sure was that they felt welcomed, and the community that is on this page is one that is like-minded and one that loves to grow and learn and have fun. So thank you guys for being a part of it, making it so fun, and making people who don't normally do this stuff feel welcome here. That's just a huge thing for me. I never thought that would happen. So thanks, and I'll see you guys soon. What is it, buddy?